Welcome to my throne of history. Actually, it's a chair in my living room with a black sheet thrown over it. But in history, you need to learn to use your imagination. So you better start using yours. From this throne, imagination, come on. From this throne, I'm going to take you on a journey of 10,000 years in 23 weeks. Crash helmet and full harness 5-point seatbelt probably required. We're going to go from 8000 BC until yesterday. Back in the time of COVID, there's a bit more history for you. Back in the time of COVID, I made a video for each of those 23 periods for children who were out of school because of lockdown. We're going to start by looking at the video I made for this period, and then you come back here to my throne. You've got it, haven't you? Yep. Come back here to my throne and I'll give you some more information and some ideas of how you could have a go at living in that period. Let's go to the period we've called the Stone Age and watch that video I made and see what we need to remember about those times.
To remember.
Oh, so what are we remembering this time? Well, this time you're going to start every one of these podcasts by asking me what we've got to remember. Okay. Because young people like familiarity. Oh, that's good then. Well, I just hope you remember. You've got an elephant that will remind you. I hope you're not talking about me. No, okay. Yes, welcome to our introduction to the Stone Age. Last week we did the Mesolithic Age and now it's the Stone Age. And what you've got to remember this time is one, it's only 2,200 years of Stone Age time. Not like 3,500 that we had for the Mesolithic. And the other thing you need to remember is that the hunter-gatherers have gone. Well, they haven't actually gone anywhere, but they no longer hunt and gather. They now keep and grow. So you can call them keepers and growers if you like. You do like, okay. So that's what we'll call them. It has been a big change. They've gone from picking up their home and moving to another place to actually staying in one place. So as a result of that, their houses are a lot bigger, a lot more substantial, because they don't have to pick them up and carry them. And in fact, some of them are made of stone now, or of something called wattle and daub. What'll that be? Yes, very good. It's all explained on the website, so you can go and have a look at it. But wattle and daub or stone houses, they also sort of had central heating. No, not with radiators. It wasn't really central heating. It was just that in order to keep warm, they would light a fire in the middle of their hut, and therefore it was sort of central heating. Nope, they didn't have chimneys. They just had a hole in the roof of the hut, and the smoke would go out through the hole. Yes, the rain did come in through the hole as well. So there's a bit of a problem, but they managed. And even though we were an island, we were surrounded by water, people would come across from mainland Europe in a boat, and they introduced new ideas. They introduced the idea of farming. You know what farming is? That's right, it's when you grow food, or you look after animals as well. So they did both. And around their houses they would have little plots of land where they grow things, and then they'd have an enclosed area where they would put their pigs or cows or sheep. Those are the animals that the people brought across from Europe. Can you imagine a boat carrying cows? Must have looked very strange even, if I could talk properly. And families would settle down with other families, and there'd be little communities, little villages would be growing up. And there was no more hunting, because your food basically was either outside your front door, although they didn't have doors at the beginning of this period, but never mind, or it was in a pasture nearby where you could go and kill it. So that was a big change from the hunter-gatherer time. Another thing about the food is that they learned from the people who came across from mainland Europe, they learned how to make bread from the wheat and the barley that they were grown. So that was an addition that they had to their diet. One of the other things you're going to be able to read about is the way they treated death, how they buried their ancestors. And they actually did it by burying them in underground chambers and then covering those chambers with grass and making a mound. And so it was called a burial mound or a barrow. No, if they had put wheels on it, it would not have been a wheelbarrow. Sorry. So, we know a lot of this because of the work of archaeologists. That is a long word, yes, archaeologists. Basically, they're people who will dig into the ground and scrape around and see what leftovers there were from previous times. And that's how we know a lot of things from the Stone Age. Stone tends to not disappear, so they can find little traces of walls, so they know what the huts might have looked like. Okay, so that's this week's introduction. Two things happened at the end of this period that will actually have an effect on the next period. Tell you? Yes, okay, I'll tell you. One, people started building stone circles. And one of those stone circles was to become very, very famous, and we'll tell you about it. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you now. I know you've just told me what it was, but I'm not telling them. They'll have to wait till the Bronze Age. Yep, sorry. And the other thing was that horses were introduced to the country and became domesticated. So no longer did people have to walk everywhere. They began to learn how either to ride a horse, or they made chariots with wheels, and the horses would pull the chariots. Anyway, you can go and look at all of this. It's all there in the Stone Age section. We've called it the Stone Age, but you do need to understand that the Stone Age has been going on for thousands of years. And last week, the Mesolithic Age is known really as the Middle Stone Age. Meso is a Greek word meaning middle. This time period should be the Neolithic Age, but we thought we'd call it the Stone Age. Why did we think that? I actually can't remember now. Sorry, but I can't. And the earlier one was known as the Paleolithic Age, and that means basically old. So we have the Old Stone Age, the Middle Stone Age, which we looked at last week, and this time the New Stone Age, which we've actually called the Stone Age. Okay? See you then. Bye. Are you flying or waving? You don't know. Right, okay. See ya. Well done. Welcome back to my throne. Imagination. That's the Stone Age. We've called it Stone Age, the Neolithic Age, the New Stone Age. And that's how people changed from being hunter-gatherers and eaters to being more settled and living in one place. And what I want you to do for this week's Have a Go
is to have a go at thinking what it must have been like to experience these changes. Now, for you young people, you may think there's been a lot of change, but I don't think there has been that much. I look around and I see you all going on your phones, and suddenly you can talk to somebody while walking down the street. Wouldn't do that in my day. No, if I wanted to talk to somebody, I had to be in my house and then I had to go on a dial, and then, sorry, I dial 999, and then you could talk to somebody. So what did these people feel like when somebody came along and said to them, look, do you know, you don't need to keep digging up, but picking up your hut and moving it somewhere else. You can put it in one place and you can make it more solid. Oh, how can I do that? Well, why don't you try something that we found other people doing? It's called wattle and daub. Oh, what'll that be? Sorry, didn't mean to do that. What'll that be? Well, it does fit in though, doesn't it? What'll that be? Well, get some bendy twigs, a willow or something that bends quite easily, and put some sticks in and weave the willow around there. Yeah, but there's holes, Yeah, but that's where the daub comes in. Really? Yes, you just cover that with daub. What's daub? Well, daub is sort of a mixture of earth and clay and animal poo. Who thought of that? Who went round thinking, now what can I mix here? Oh yes. Oh, hello horse. Well, they didn't have horses, but hello cow. And mixed it. Wattle and daub. Who was the person who said, look, if you take this little seed and put it in the ground, then wait a bit, maybe water it a bit, watch for sunshine, it will grow into a plant. I didn't know that could happen. That's why we moved on, because we'd used up all the plants. Well, now stay in one place and plant some more. And if at the top of that plant you see little grainy things, did you know that if you put those little grainy things on a slab of stone and then get yourself another stone and grind it over the top of these little seedy things you've got there, and eventually you'll get a lovely white powder. And then just add a bit of water, cook it, heat it, perhaps on a stone, you know, put a stone down in the fire, then take it off and put this on. You've got bread. Who thought of that? Why were they doing it? You've got your cow now in a fence so it won't escape. You can have milk. You've got your chickens. You can have eggs. You don't have to run after a dinosaur. This is all new, and that's what I want you to think about. How did they discover these things? What would you be doing to do that? And two, how would it have made you feel if you saw these sorts of things? There's certain things today that you can see that you thought, well, I never knew that could happen. A driverless car. Never imagined that was possible. Don't know how safe they are, but they're still going around. around. No, joking. But those sort of things, and as a way of sort of getting you to think about something that you may never have seen happening, at the end of this, when I finish speaking, which will within the week, I'm going to give you something to do where you can actually watch something grow in your own house for a while. And when it's grown a bit, you can actually take it and put it in your garden or a flower pot if you haven't got a garden, and watch it grow even more. Except you won't be able to see the growing bit, but you will be able to see it getting bigger. So that's the Stone Age. Next week we move on. We move on to the Bronze Age, and guess what? Yet more questions of how did people discover that? Think about it. Go to the website, Times Past section, read about the Mesolithic people in the Hoots, read about the Stone Age people in the hoots and see what the differences were and think, oh, how did they feel about that? How did they think to use that? People would have used deer antlers as combs. They combed it into a shape. Combed it? No, they didn't comb it into a shape. They cut it into a shape and then they could use it to comb their hair. I didn't have a deer handy, I'm sorry. But think, what made them want to do these sorts of things? Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week in the Mesolithic, no, not in the Mesolithic, I'm going backwards, in the Bronze Age. And now, here's something you can have a go at. Right, in order to have a go at this, you will only need 4 things. One of which you'll have to buy, probably, and one of which you might have to buy. But you need an avocado, you need a glass jar with some water in it, you need some cocktail sticks or something with a point that you can put into something, and you need a sharp knife. And then this is what you do. You may well need, move that out of the way, you may well need to have some adult help, because what you do is, long ways, you cut into your avocado, but the avocado has a big stone in the middle and you don't want to cut into that, so don't cut too deep. And the way to open your avocado once you've cut it is simply to twist it, and there's the stone in the middle. That's the bit that you need. So take that out, put it there. Is it going to roll away? No. Move the avocado away, you can eat that later, don't worry about that. And then what you do is you get your sticks, there you are, and you only need 3. 1, 2, 3, oh, I can count, well done me. And now that, I will tell you now that that stone in the middle of the avocado is very slippery. But what you do is look at the avocado, see which is the narrower end, and then put these 3 cocktail sticks, just push them in around, I told you it was slippery, around the top. 1 is in, 2 is in, and, oh, I've got lovely thumbs, haven't I? And here goes the 3rd one. Right? When they are in, and I'm going to try and show you how it's the narrower end, but they're very slippery. It's very, where's the camera? No, there you are. You can see, look, down to the narrow end. There it is. Well done pointing it out. And then all you do is just drop, where's the camera? Just drop the avocado into the water. The sticks will stop it from falling all the way in, and there you leave it. All the way in. Can you see it? It's just touching. You may have to fill it up with water occasionally, but you just leave it and watch and see what happens. I'm not even going to tell you what might happen, because then it will be more of a surprise for you, just like for our Stone Age people. But every week I'll take a picture of this and you can see what's happening to mine. So there you are. That's the Stone Age. Couldn't be simpler.
So this is the Stone Age.
Yes. The new one or the old one or the middle one?
There's 3?
There's 3. There's the Paleolithic age, which is the old Stone Age, because paleo means old in Greek and lithic means stone. Then we had the Mesolithic one,
which I'm guessing is middle in Greek.
Meso is middle in Greek. And then this one, which is the Neolithic age, the new Stone Age.
God, they must have had a really hard time trying to find all new stones. Surely they must have preferred if it was just the lithic age.
Yeah.